Hey there everybody, Paler here, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing final thoughts on Tropico 5. Now this game's actually been out a little longer than I intended before the review came, but it's been a little tough for me to put together a review on it as I had real mixed feelings about it. I'm a pretty big fan of the Tropico series. I really am. Tropico 3, now, I didn't play any of them before Tropico 3. That's where I jumped in. I have picked up Tropico 2 when it was bundled with something. I don't remember. But 3 was a terrific game. 4 was a little lackluster at launch, but when they did, what was it, the Modern Times expansion, I really came along, and I really like the Tropico series. It's not a game you play every day or anything, but it's got a nice little aesthetic to it that's enjoyable from time to time, that I've always enjoyed. And Tropico 5, well, I had moderate hopes for it. I don't know if I had high hopes. I expected pretty much more of what Tropico 4 did. Not a whole lot of changes, maybe a little bit updated here or there. And that is pretty much actually what we got. So let's go ahead, let's get into it. Before we actually load in, I want to show you guys there is something slightly new. Well, for one, there is a multiplayer system. In my opinion, this is not all that good. Basically, the multiplayer is done in a way with there's now a bit more of a military system within the game, and basically you just build structures on you build barracks, you build army bases and everything, as you did in Tropico 3, Tropico 4, and they'll generate soldiers to fight rebels or whatever. Well, now there'll be invasions from other countries, or if you're playing multiplayer, invasions from other islands, and your military will fight back and forth. You can even fight an aircraft carrier, but you don't actually control your guys. But the only thing you can do is you can set priorities on defense and priorities on attack and everything. That's about it. It's not very good, but it's not a problem. It's not why I actually play Tropico, not for no multiplayer. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we're going to come into here, no sandbox, and here's what I first wanted to show you. You can tell here I like the name Paler a lot. Basically, instead of creating your El Presidente, you now create a dynasty. So you start off by creating a single dynasty member. Let's go ahead, we'll call it Lopez, that's fine, and we're going to load in here. And in a moment, I don't remember it taking this long to load before. There we go. We are now creating our dynasty member for the Lopez family. So you start off with the first member. You can go male or female, and then you got basically your standard options for Tropico. Although I have to say it does seem to be a bit less than I remember in Tropico 4. Tropico 4 seemed to have a lot more options that I can recall. There are a series of different skills. These are the bonuses that this member of the dynasty would get. You go through here, let's go ahead and let's make her, I think, an administrator. Service buildings, construction costs, yeah, that's a good one to start off with a new dynasty for. Change the race around, okay. Got Caucasian, Latino, let's go Asian. And then there's several different faces. Go ahead and we can move ahead then to the next one. Of course, did I just really make an Asian woman named Aldia Lopez? I'm going to stick with it. Alright. There's some different costumes and everything. All of this is pretty standard, except you don't have nearly as many perks as you did in Tropico 4. In Tropico 4, basically, you had a list of like 20 or 30 positive perks and then 20 or 30 negative perks, and you had to choose, well, you didn't have to choose any, but you could choose like 3 of one and then 3 positives and 3 negatives to create a unique playstyle for each one of your dictators. Most of that is now gone. The only thing you now get is what we did back here, your administrator skill. What will then happen then, as you start playing through the game with your primary dynasty member, there'll be different events that occur throughout it. The first one seems to always be the same, where you get into an illegitimate relationship and you're going to have a child out of wedlock, and then you have to go ahead and build a church or something in order to have it, and that'll be your first dynasty heir. And throughout the gameplay, as you go through, you'll give birth to different heirs. And each time you get a new heir, you can go ahead and you can create a new character like this, but they still only get one primary skill trait. There are other little events that occur throughout the gameplay, like you can send a Dynasty member off to study at a university, and then they'll come back with an additional skill trait depending on what university you send them to, or you can send them off to assist with the Axis and allies in the war, and they'll come back sometimes with different skill traits. So the dictatorship has changed quite a bit. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know. It's meh. It's really not very good. It gets the job done, but it doesn't feel like an improvement. And it feels like a little bit of a sidestep and a little bit of a backstep at the same time. Not terrible, just not great in my opinion. Let's go back and cancel, and we're gonna load into a game, my awesome save game here. Okay, now the reason this video has taken so long for me to put together is I couldn't really figure out how I felt about the game. In general, I feel about half of what the game does, it does better than Tropico 4, and I feel about half of what the game does, it does worse than Tropico 4. So it was kind of like a toss-up of what I expected. So here's my island. I've been on this island for a little while. I went through the first era and everything. We got to talk about the eras in a moment. And I've gone through 3 presidential elections, I believe. It's 1929. We're coming around on the mid to late part of the World Wars, and then we'll be moving into the Cold War here soon. So the big change that they have gone ahead and they've brought to the Tropico series now is there are different eras. You start off in the colonial era, where you are a colony for England. I think it's England. They imply it's England. I don't think they ever come out and actually say it's England, but they talk about the Majesty and the Queen and everything, and the guy's pretty darn British that's talking to you. From the colonial area, you then move into the World War era, then you move into the Cold War era, and then you move into the modern era. And throughout each era, the game unlocks different features. So, for example, if we come in here under construction in residential, in the colonial area, the only thing that is available to you is country house and mansion. Then once you move into the World War era, you unlock house and tenement. Then once we move into Cold War, we'll have apartment, and then modern times, we'll get the modern apartment. Similar things if we come under education. The library is the only thing available in the colonial era. Then once you hit World War, you can get the high school and the college, observatory, and then the science lab will come in modern times. So they've kind of segregated things out in terms of technology based over the era. And it also has a research now. So actually, if we come back in here, all of these structures, the library, the high school, the college, and all of them, they generate something called research points, which we can then come in here and look at our research. There's this research tree. And this always starts here on the left, and all these items here are the original, the colonial items. And you research through these, and basically some of these things, well, it's easier to look at if we go to a modern one here. So which one's being done? This one here. So Shiny, which is going to be unlocking the jewelry store, takes 9 months worth of research for us. It doesn't actually say how many points it takes. But what we have going on is I currently have a library generating research. I also have high school does not generate. I also have a college generating research. So the more libraries you'd have, the more you would generate research and everything. And then this in here is where you actually unlock some of the more unique items. So power plant is unlocked via research, tanks is unlocked via research, steel mills, newspapers, all that stuff. So you don't just have to progress via the eras, you also have to progress by researching the different technologies. Now, in general, you're going to be finishing research, even if you just have the minimum of each building, well before you move up between one era. Basically, the only thing the research does is it makes you decide about what order you're going to go ahead. You're going to get a few technologies in. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Now, the era system, while it sounds really neat, and for the occasional playthrough, it actually is pretty good, it's probably my biggest gripe and complaint about the game. What it does is, I don't want to be going super fast while I'm trying to talk, or things are going to go really bad. What it does is, since the game is limited so much, the opening of a new island, whenever you start in either a new sandbox or even in the campaign a new island, you're always going to be in the colonial era. So you're always going to be starting off with the same basic objectives. You're going to have to keep the crown happy so that they keep you in power. They're going to give you one of 5 different quests, but they're always the same type. Either they want bananas, or they want some wool, or they want some logs, and doing these things. You're only going to be able to use certain technologies. You can't start off right from the bat. Like, you can't come into Tropico 5 and say, you know what, I want to create a tourist island. There's no doing that, because it's going to be locked until Cold War no matter what. And you can't focus down one tree, or you're never going to make it out of the colonial or the World War era.
The world is at war. I may not be an expert, but now would seem to be the time.
Yeah. So have one army base. We already have one army base, but we might need to get more.
Huge battle plans, operation code names, the whole shebang.
Okay. Here's one of those dynasty things I was talking about, where you can send dynasty members to do different stuff. So I can send them to either support the Axis or the Allies. I'll gain relationships, and then there also seems to be a chance. It doesn't happen every time, but there seems to be a chance that they will come back with additional trait. So we're going to go ahead and send a dynasty member. Let's send the manager of the lumber mill. She'll go ahead and she'll head out there. Okay. What was I saying? So the era system for the occasional playthrough is pretty good. But what runs into trouble is if you're going to be playing several different maps or whatever, a lot of the times they play out not identical, but very, very similar. It's hard to create an island that's going to have a unique style about it, because you're always going to be getting very similar missions during the colonial era. Then you're always going to get very similar missions during the World War era. And they're always going to force you to try to do something in order to stay in power. And that's going to keep your islands all very unique, very similar. And it's just kind of disappointing. I enjoy it the first time through, even the second time through, and in 2 or 3 months when I've kind of forgotten about it and it's fresh again, I'll enjoy it again. But what this system has basically done is it's turned Tropico into a once in a blue moon game rather than a guilty pleasure that I play, you know, once a week or or once every 2 weeks or something.
Because we have made a major breakthrough.
Yeah, we got the jewelry factory. Good, nice. Because it's always played out, or at least the 2 dozen or so I've done, almost all of them have played out very similarly. Now, beyond that, that's probably my biggest gripe about it. Beyond that, they've done many very good changes for the Tropico series. They've done changes to the resource system. So if you remember, you used to, if you came in here and we did, where's our overlays? If I can remember where they're at, right here. If we did overlays, island, maybe there isn't even one there. City, electricity, liberty. Let's just see what that one looks like. I haven't never looked at that one. Crime, safety. We need another police station down here, it looks like. Yeah. What I was saying though is, okay, you might remember if you've ever played Tropico 3, Tropico 4, there's overlays for the different natural resources, like the coal, like the uranium. I don't think there was uranium. Maybe there was in modern times, I don't remember. Gold, bauxite, and all that. And what you would get this layout of like coal on the ground, and it'd be red, and you'd have to place your structure down over it. Well, they've gone ahead and they've changed that up to where now there are actual mines like this. Like this is a coal deposit. This is another coal deposit. Over here's a bauxite. Up here's a gold one. So if we wanted to mine this gold out, we just go ahead and raw resources, mine, and there's no longer any question of, are you getting your mine over it? Are you going to be able to collect everything? The mine actually snaps. If I spin the camera around here, the mine actually snaps to it, and this mine will guaranteed mine out all of that gold without fail. And once it's done, it'll actually go ahead and it'll collapse. Can we get this road out of there? Let's hope so. Yeah, there we go. That'll work. It'll actually go ahead and collapse. In fact, this one over here is probably getting close to being done. 26,000. So that one will be done sometime soon. This is a nice little neat feature. There's also, I think I saw some oil out here, didn't I? The oil is no longer just patches on the ground. It's an actual place. Right there's one, an oil geyser. It's an actual thing that once we have access to the oil wells, which I think we do, raw resource, no we don't. Once we actually have access to this, it's Cold War, that's right, it'll snap right to there. So you're gonna get, you don't have to worry about placing the structure just perfectly over it, which the other Tropico games were never very good about. All of this I very much approve of. It's actually pretty darn good. The other things that they've done have been quite nice. Let's see here. Let's think about some things. Oh, they've done a mass upgrade system for some things. For example, it's hard to show right now. Can I build one and maybe show it that way? If we come in here, country house. Yeah, if we build like 2 or 3 of these country houses, let's put one right there and one right there. Okay, we'll go ahead and get the game going again and let these finish off. While those are building, I can actually talk about the building system. The building system's been somewhat modified. You still have just priorities. You can give them low priority, high priority, and those are going to come from all the different construction offices. And the other thing you can now do, and this was somewhat implemented in the other ones, there's a quick build where for basically about half the cost of the structure, you can then instantaneously build it. So if we go ahead and we click this here, it's going to go ahead and instantly finish off these country houses. Now the country houses, we can come in here, and this is somewhat what I was talking about. So, like I said, originally you start off the game with just the country houses and the mansions. And once you move on to the next era, what they've done is they've gone ahead and they put a pretty nice system in here where there's a button that'll allow you to modernize all country houses. So originally when I clicked this, these houses here were all country houses. This one here was country. These two here were country. Basically, one click of the button cost me like $30,000, modernized all of my houses at once. So let's go ahead and let us modernize these. Boom. And you'll see these two just became modern houses, which is pretty nice. This is a pretty good move. The problem is they didn't modernize, they didn't do it for everything. So if I want to give this house electricity, which will allow it to have air conditioning, improve its quality, I can't do that for all of them. I have to go ahead and I have to go around, I have to click both of them. It's kind of silly, like why they only did the button for half of them. I'm guessing they didn't want you to just consume all of your electricity at once. But we have 436, we got plenty of extra electricity. Seems like that would have been something that you could have paid attention to yourself, or they could have found a better way to implement a stop. Let's go ahead and see what our new mission is.
Soldiers are either fighting against tyranny and oppression, or
10,000 cloth. I have a lot of wool, but I don't have a textile plant. Let's see what we got, what we need for textile. I think that's under here. Industry, nope. Is it luxury? Rum distillery, jewelry, cigar. Where's the textile? Oh, right there. Textile, 14K, 12 with a high school education. We should be able to do that. Alright, let's go ahead and make a textile plant. Where do we want this thing? Let's put it down here. Textile. Yeah, let's put that there. I got a bunch of houses right there, so we'll go ahead and put that down, and we'll go ahead and we'll accept this mission. Good stuff. So all of that is pretty good, fairly handy. The power system's been, well, not really changed much. It's been enlarged. As you can see, I have power all the way over to here, and I only have actually 2 substations. So I have a substation there and a substation there, and that's enough to cover this whole corner of the island. There's also another one somewhere up in here. It's expanding it that way. No real changes to it. It works like you would expect. Oh, is our gold mine done? Is our gold mine done? Yeah, our gold mine's done. There's been other minor changes. In here, we can actually now... You can do things with management. Effectiveness increased by 20, but pollution is increased by 30%. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And then manager, we want to put a manager in here. So the managers bring bonuses into the structures then. Let's see, a tycoon effectiveness on maximum budget increased by 10. They're gonna all be the same. Increased by 12. Increased by 12. A tactician, this guy, managed building is 20% more durable. Doesn't really matter. Money grubber is gonna steal me money. Mentor effectiveness of other nearby buildings increased by 1. Generates research points. We should put this guy into the library. Increases wealth for workers by 20% and increases workers' approval by 1. Let's go ahead and let's go with this tycoon here. We're going to hire him, and then we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to increase the budget to 100% in order to get the most out of him. All right, and now we got to go ahead and we got to build a jewelry plant. All right, we'll put this one right here also. That'll work. And away we go. Still doing good. Okay, so as you can see, it's kind of a mixed bag of good and bad. A lot of the things haven't changed or have changed just slightly, but for the better. However, a few of the big changes that they did make, in my opinion, are not for the better. They're actually for the worse. I think they actually hurt the series somewhat. And it's not so much that it's bad, but what I see happening here is very much what happened with Tropico 4. Tropico 4, when it first came out, was an okay game. It definitely brought around some nice graphical updates to Tropico 3, but it did not have the depth Tropico 3 did. I would say right now Tropico 5 is not as good as Tropico 4. However, we can pretty much, without much thought, predict that. What am I doing? That. I want that. I want that. I found that if you pretty much just up the budget, that means the people that work there are going to get more money. They will always be happy then. Not massively happy, but they'll stay around the 55 to 65% mark, so you don't have to worry too much. As long as you don't do anything real boneheaded, they'll always like you. So every one of my structures, if we look through here, every structure I have actually has a budget of at least the 4 out of 5, if not 5 out of 5. Oh, that's right. This guy, we wanted to put our inventor there. Hire him. Good. Then I wanted to check these upgrades. So see, effective to increase by 30, but textile mill produces, now that's too much pollution. Increases workers by 6, and effect, yeah, we do want that one. And what do we have down here? The jewelry shop workshop consumes 10% less raw resources. Yes, we want that. Effectiveness increased by 10, maximum for every other jewelry workshop nearby. Huh? You want me to put down more of those? Might as well not activate that because there's only one there. That won't help us very much. Some other minor changes that I'm not a big fan of. They've redone the system by which you can tell what people's desires are. So if we come in here and we look at this guy right here, where did he go? Charles. He went behind this building, I think. Did he go behind the building? Maybe he's in the building. I don't know where he went. If we look here, this guy is actually a rebel. Now, why is he a rebel? Can I not actually? I can't click on him? We're gonna kill him. Yeah. Goodbye, Charles. Sorry to your son. Or daughter. That's a daughter. That was heartless. What I was looking at is his approval is only 48 there. Here we go. So this little lady right here. So she's got an approval of 92. Let's find...
I am sorry.
Let's find somebody with low approval rating. Approval, 14. Here we go. Why does she have such low approval of me? The thing is, let me go ahead and pause it so I can actually click on her. Nowhere does it really tell me why she's so unhappy. I'll come in here and I'll see, okay, she doesn't have a lot of entertainment, but what does she desire for more entertainment? What does she want to get more entertainment? Like, do I need to put down, what was it, the president, or the El Presidente's childhood museum? Do I have to put one of them down? It doesn't actually ever tell you this. All these people, we can come in here, we can see where their happinesses are, but what do you actually need to do to increase their happiness, it doesn't really tell you, which drives me nuts. And then there's not a whole lot of things for some of these. Inside entertainment, look at this. I have tavern, restaurant, and 2 different gardens. That's all I have for right now. Under luxury entertainment, I do have a little bit more, but I don't think a 13-year-old girl is going to be going to a casino or a cabaret. Maybe an opera house, but unlikely. I already have the cabaret down here. There just seems to be some items missing in the actual description of things. the data that Tropico 4 gave you back, the feedback from your citizens, I believe was better. We can come in here, we can actually see, let's see, so our balance, we currently are generating 81,000, we're caught, what? That doesn't make sense. Why are we, how are we spending more? I'm not going to worry about it right now. Got our power, we have no tourism, our workforce, 304, 22 unemployed, even though there's 33 open jobs, which I never understand. Our crime safety is not too bad. Entertainment is pretty poor, but I knew that. Food is okay. Healthcare is okay. Housing's okay. All that stuff's okay. Liberty's a little low. Religion's a little low. Alright. The homeless population. This here drives me nuts, too. They don't tell you anywhere how many homes you have available. How many open homing spots. So, like, I could have, if we come here, I'm going to bet some of these have open spots to them. That one's full. That one's full. Okay, I'm going to end up being a liar. It just would be nice if this data somewhere in here would tell me, alright, you have 37 homeless, but you have only 2 open housing spots left. So then you would know you need to build, 35 more houses or whatever. Something like that would have been nice. I don't remember. I don't think that was even in Tropico 5 or Tropico 4. Minor thing, minor gripe. The data, the feedback from the game seemed to be better in Tropico 4. Okay, so what was I saying? I got off topic there a little bit. That happens to me a lot. What I was saying was, in my experience, basically, Tropico 4, when it came out, was not better than Tropico 3. Now, after its expansion, after some of the DLC, it is a much better game. And that is kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen very much with Tropico 5. Right now, since the eras are so narrow and so restrictive, I don't think Tropico 5 is a better game than Tropico 4. I do predict, however, that in a year's time, when there's probably been a DLC, well, there's definitely going to be DLCs, but there might have been a full-blown expansion by then, that they will flesh out this game and it'll get better. The question is, how much are we going to end up spending on this DLC? And that is sort of what I'm kind of thinking. Basically with Tropico, if you're not a big Tropico fan, I would say hold off and wait on this game. Wait for the Game of the Year edition, wait for the edition with all the DLC, or wait for a massive discount where you can buy the DLC all at once it starts coming out, which is going to be coming relatively soon. If you are a big Tropico fan, you've probably already bought this game. You're probably in the same boat as me, where it's enjoyable, but it's just not great. Wow, our population just skyrocketed. Open jobs. Oh, I did forget to mention one other thing. There's another fairly good bonus that they've added to the game. They've added this little trade network, so that's the reason I have 2 docks. You can build as many docks as you want, and each dock adds another trade ship. If we come in here under trade, there are different trades available. Any of the green down arrows mean import, so I can import pineapples and everything. And you can see here, these places are selling. If it's green like this, they're selling it for less than what it's actually the market value is. The other thing you can do is you can actually export. So we can export wool. Right now I am exporting wool to the Allies, and I am charging them $952 per ounce, pound, I don't know, compared to the default price of $794. And then I have 2 ships here on that. I could export coffee to the Axis. Well, I would need a better standing and go through here. They would take coal, 621 compared to the default price of 444. I have a bunch of coal mines. I might actually throw some coal up there and get some coal export going. That would be some nice income. Steel, 3,000 compared to 4,000, so an increase of about 400 compared to down here. And then, why is this so much different when they're both steel? Oh, they're exporting different amounts, and this one's almost 1,400. Wow, we got to start making some steel. That stuff would go great. The trade system's a nice little thing. It keeps you distracted as you're going. It's handy, but it's a bonus. It's nothing crazy. It's a good improvement in the game, if a minor one. All right. So, as I was saying, at the end of the day, Tropico 5, unless you're a big Tropico fan, in which case you've probably already bought it, I highly recommend kind of just staying away from it for right now. Give it a year. Give it a year for them to flesh it out, get some DLC, watch for a Game of the Year edition, watch for a bundled buy, watch for a deep sale.
One huge wave, Presidente. And
Oh
it's coming
boy.
straight for us.
Tsunami coming. Where's the tsunami? Where are you, tsunami? Hello? Must have come to this side of the island where I couldn't see it. Well, that's unfortunate. Alright, I guess that's fortunate. That didn't hit anything. I kind of wanted to show it, though. The tsunami's pretty neat. Yeah. If you're not a big Tropico fan, you haven't already bought this. That means if you have not already bought this, wait for the bundles, wait for the collector's edition, wait for the buy one get it all type version. Because as the game stands right now, it has some neat ideas that just aren't quite fully fleshed out enough to make this justifiable to buy over Tropico 4 or Tropico 3. Tropico 4 with modern times, in my opinion, is a much more solid game. For what it is right now, I give Tropico 5 a 6.5 out of 10. It's the basis here. There is a decent starting point that they could build a quality product off of, but I don't want to have to spend $30 on DLC or $50 on DLC to make this into the game it really should have been. And it's overall, I'm a little disappointed. And where is my funny Palomaltimo, the radio DJ? They took away the radio DJ. The one best part of the original one. The music's still there, but the funny radio DJ saying all the silly crap is gone. Ah, that drives me nuts. The music on this one is terrible compared to the other one. And very disappointed about that too. So you know what? We're going to knock that down to a 6 out of 10 because of that. Once I get my DJ back for Tropico, we'll bump it back up that 0.5. Alright everyone, so there you have it. That's final thoughts on Tropico 5. This has been Paler. Thanks for watching.